Scott, you touched on mind games with Michael Beale, and we mentioned that when we're talking about the Ange Postecoglou lucky comment that he made, which, you know, went on for weeks, people having their say on it, and we spoke at the time about whether it was deliberate. Did he throw it out there, or was it naivety and he didn't realise the reaction he would get? We thought maybe he was trying to show his dressing room that I'll stand up, you know, that I'm willing to, so the players would look up to him and things. Now, he seems to be making a habit of this, comments getting picked up on. There was a Chris Sutton one as the latest one, you know, where he had a nibble back at him on asking if he would have made the same gesture, the sporting gesture, as he did with Partick Thistle, if it was against Celtic or it was a big European game or whatever it was. And he described Chris Sutton as the worst ever player to play for Chelsea, who he supported. And that has been, I mean, it's exploded with people having their say on it. Again, what do you think? Was it deliberate? Did he know what he was doing here? Because you see the reaction, or do you think it was naive, or do you think it's a masterstroke?
I was in the room when he said it. It was definitely deliberate.
Was it right?
Oh, because it was. He obviously got asked in the broadcast presser about the, you know, would you have done the same against Celtic? And he kind of swiped it aside, made no mention of Chris Sutton, or even, you know, didn't even sort of acknowledge that it was from these comedy act pundits. But when we asked him a very similar question, that's when he sort of went off and one comedy act pundits dragging the game into the gutter. And then he got asked a separate question that was very much down a different avenue. And that's when he brought it back and then made this comment about Chelsea's worst ever striker, not naming him by name, but, you know, leaving us in little doubt who he was referring to. So for me, I think we've discussed previously some of the comments that Michael Beale has been clobbered for a wee bit, you know, like a lucky man. I don't know, Scott was in the room for that one. It just seemed like it was a sort of throwaway comment. Nothing. That was something to me. Scott will know better than I did. It didn't look like it was. He put too much thought into it. This one was definitely something that he'd come out determined to make his point. Even the fact he chose to make it to the daily newspapers rather than in front of the broadcast cameras seemed to me to be calculated, because, you know, you can perhaps a lot of managers used to like to send their message out through the papers rather than do it in front of the TV cameras. So just on that point, I just thought it would make it clear that I definitely think it was something he came out with the intention of saying. Okay, so is it clever?
I don't really know if it's clever or naive. I mean, I didn't mind it at all for Michael Beale. I think if Chris Sutton's going to have an opinion, as he's more than entitled to have, then Michael Beale's got every right to have a wee pop back. I say I don't mind it, but I have got a kind of theory on this kind of Sutton Beale thing, and I know that Beale had the pop back at Chris Sutton when he was asked the question about Sutton's comment about the Thistle goal, and that obviously kind of ignited it. I don't know what Andy thinks of this, but my kind of theory on that, I actually think Michael Beale was more irked by Chris's column the week before in the Daily Record, and Chris had a real pop at him. I think he called him arrogant. I think he said
he would eat himself, if
he was chocolate, he'd eat himself, taking all the credit for Steven Gerrard's title.
Classless was one of the
I genuinely think that really got to Beale far more than the thing about the Thistle thing. I mean, to me, that was just nothing. That was just a question of it. Would they have done it against Celtic? I mean, I
think it was in fairness to Chris, I think it was a wee, you know, it's a kind of jokey remark. I definitely agree with that.
That's a pub question. That's got things punters would talk about the pub. No, I think you'd have done it against Celtic. Honestly, I think the personal stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why, because immediately after that Sutton column and Beale's press conference, and no many people picked up on it, he deliberately made a point. I don't know if Andy heard this, maybe it's just me, but he said it twice. When he mentioned Gerrard, he says, I worked underneath Steven Gerrard. I worked underneath Gerrard during that time. I think he even mentioned it again yesterday, and that to me told me that really upped him. That personal stuff about trying to claim the title, trying to claim Gerrard's title. He did all the work and all the coaching stuff. I think he really took that personally, and I genuinely think that's what's prompted the kind of real dig on Sutton, the Chelsea stuff. No, I don't think it's anything to do with the Celtic.
Well, that's funny. That's actually funny you should say that, because that probably was something that was much more critical than just posing. So Andy, just to be clear on that, then, when Michael Beale was responding in the press conference and he had to go at Sutton, I know without naming him, was that in response to the tweet, or was it a more general thing, or was he just asked about that? Because as Scott says, maybe if he's had that sort of in his mind, it's been more of a general pop back at Chris Sutton as opposed to just on that.
Yeah, so it was on a totally different subject, because he was sort of asked. I'd sort of asked him if obviously the conversation at the time and the press conference at that time, it was a sort of week on from the Partick Thistle game, and asking him, he'd obviously went out in a limb and sort of was prepared to upset the crowd by giving that goal back to Partick Thistle. And we were sort of asking him, does it matter to him whether he's a popular manager with the fans? Is he happy to, make unpopular decisions if he feels it it's for the best for the club? And that's when he sort of, I'm just going to quote him here. He was saying, I think history will determine that. I don't think anything I do right in this second will determine that. I think history will determine that. Emotions run high. They like one player, they don't like another. One scores one week and it isn't like the next, isn't linked to the next. It's the role of the fan growing up. And this is when he goes into the Sutton. He comes back to Sutton at this point. This is why I think it's a sort of calculated move by him, because growing up, I was a Chelsea fan. So there's one pundit around here who's the worst ever player to play for Chelsea. That's why I won't mention his name, because I try to forget him.
Right.
So as I say, the conversation had moved on.
Right. Okay. So
he was still determined to bring it back round to.
Right. Okay. So I think Scott's probably hit the nail on the head, and he's maybe right. When it's been said that it's a direct response to Sutton posing the question on the Partick Thistle, that's maybe not the case. It's maybe been the kind of heavier criticism, previously. As opposed to just that.
It seems that he's got an issue with Chris Sutton. He was determined to make it that way. So,
because Scott, you're right. I mean, I have noticed in some of the reactions, some people have kind of said, what did Chris Sutton say that was going to be so bad? And maybe that is that. Maybe the point is being missed. It's that it was just more of a general. It was having more of a general go at Chris Sutton rather than just that.
Yeah, I definitely think it was some of the personal stuff that wasn't maybe really picked up on by certain people, and everybody thought, he's had a go at Chris Sutton for questioning whether he would have gave the goal against Celtic, always kind of questioning his integrity, if you like. But I genuinely don't think it was about that. I think Chris had a bit of a kind of personal dig at him. As I said, I think the stuff on Gerrard would have really upped him and hurt him, and I get the feeling that's what prompted his kind of reaction.